Are you constantly attracted to really intelligent people and always seem to attract nutcases for partners? If that's the case, you might be attracting cerebral narcissists as partners, which can be daunting. They say that there's a fine line between intelligence and insanity. While intelligence is commonly associated with expertise in specific areas, innovation, and problem solving, it's essential to recognize that brilliance can exist on the same spectrum as eccentricity or mental instability. The pursuit of knowledge and creativity can sometimes lead individuals to explore unconventional ideas, challenging societal norms, and establishing paradigms. However, the relentless pursuit of intellectual excellence can sometimes push the boundaries of sanity, blurring the line between genius and madness. And history has shown that some of the most brilliant minds have dealt with mental health issues and their unconventional thinking, while groundbreaking can also be accompanied by periods of inner turmoil or psychological distress. The fine line between intelligence and insanity, it underscores the frigidity and the complexity of the human psyche, emphasizing the need for a nuanced understanding of mental well-being that it embraces both the brilliance and the vulnerabilities that coexist within the realm of extraordinary minds. A grown man jumping up and down in a fit of rage, for example, and I've seen that firsthand. What a sight to see. This is a behavior that can be associated with emotional dysregulation, impulsivity, and a lack of control over intense emotions. When it comes to narcissistic individuals, their reactions to perceived threats, and I say perceived, or challenges to their ego can be particularly pronounced. The outwardly display of rage, including physical actions like jumping up and down like that, serves as a manifestation of their inability to manage frustration and maintain composure. They say that to the degree that a person is one way is to the same degree that they are its opposites. So I suppose that the more a cerebral would be intelligent and composed, to that same degree that they could be dysregulated. So next time that you find yourself attracted to someone intelligent, you might want to step back and observe first. And I'm not saying that all intelligent people are narcissists here. I'm just saying that you might be dealing with a cerebral narcissist. For a narcissist, the need for constant admiration and validation is paramount. And any perceived slight or criticism can trigger an intense emotional response. And it's no different with the cerebral. The jump and rage behavior may be an attempt to assert dominance, intimidate others, or regain a sense of control over a situation that they perceive as threatening to their self-esteem. It can also be a way for them to garner attention and elicit a reaction from those around them. And this kind of explosive behavior can also be a tactic to manipulate and exert power over others, creating a sense of fear and submission. It allows the narcissist to temporarily escape feelings of vulnerability or inadequacy by projecting an intimidating and forceful demeanor. And all these behaviors you'll witness in all other types. So now some of you are saying, but I thought I was with a covert or a malignant. And it turns out that you can have both in the same person. So first, let's look at what defines a cerebral. Then we'll get to the mix after. Cerebral narcissism is a subtype of narcissistic personality disorder characterized by an excessive focus on intellectual achievements, intelligence, and a constant need for admiration related to one's perceived intellectual superiority. The diagnosis criteria for cerebral narcissism from the DSM-5 is, according to the DSM-5, the following criteria help identify cerebral narcissism. The first one, like all others, grandiosity. A grandiose sense of self-importance, often manifested through exaggerations of achievements and talents. Second one is fantasies of unlimited success. They're preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. The third one is belief in uniqueness, a strong belief in one's unique qualities and the need for recognition by others as special. The fourth one is lack of empathy. Yes, they too lack empathy. They have difficulty empathizing with the feelings and needs of others because, like all other narcissists, all attention must be on them. The somatic narcissist wants to be valued for their looks and the cerebral for their knowledge. The fifth one is exploitative behavior, taking advantage of others to achieve personal goals. Examples of cerebral narcissistic behavior: intellectual arrogance. Cerebral narcissists often display an inflated sense of intellectual superiority. They may belittle others' ideas, dismiss alternative perspectives, and insist on their own brilliance. How often have you tried to give your input on a conversation with the narcissist on the subject at hand with an eye roll from them as a response or a shaking of the head in disapproval? Or what about the baby talk such as, honey? They need to be the only one impressing because if you give intelligent input, they can't be above you. And that would make you an equal, which is why they behave this way towards your input in conversations. So then we have the obsession with achievements. The primary focus for cerebral narcissists is their intellectual achievements. They constantly seek opportunities to showcase their intelligence, often undermining the accomplishments of others. So, for example, when you ask them at day's end how their day went, the response is usually how impressed at work everyone was with them. It's never about the coworkers unless it's to put them down in order to show you how superior that they are. The coworker will always be stupid and not know what they were doing. And if they were blamed for something at work, it was because of the coworker. And then the cerebral narcissist is also going to dumb down the employer. They'll go on about how they would run the company differently, suggesting that they know way better. You'll also notice the cerebral obsessing over whatever interest drives them almost 24/7. They may be researching every spare moment that they have. And when I say every spare moment, that comes at the cost of the children and the relationship where no time is spent with them. Next, we have lack of emotional intimacy. Cerebral narcissists struggle with emotional intimacy as they prioritize their intellectual pursuits over emotional connections. Relationships become transactional, lacking genuine emotional reciprocity. Cerebral narcissists need supply via the brain rather than sex. They're usually heavily involved with work-related issues as opposed to personal. Usually, in most cases, cerebral narcissists came to be this way because of the resentments that they felt towards the caregiver, and usually the caregiver of the opposite gender. They typically prefer their own gender, although they do seek out the relationships, but they have all types of disdain for the opposite sex. When it comes to intimate relationships, they are likely to be the most brutal towards their partners. They can be vicious, sadistic, ruthless, and merciless. And of course, like other narcissists, they still do start the relationship off with a good dose of love bombing where they inevitably pull away, at which point there is no emotional support of any kind. No physical contact like hugs, and the significant others is denied of any romance or sex unless they themselves are in need of sex, of course. And if you're with a cerebral, more than likely you'll be doing all the work. The cerebral narcissist will choose self-satisfaction above sex with their partner because they don't want to do the work. They also have often homosexual tendencies, not all of them, but a lot of them, which is most likely due to the disdain that they feel towards the mother, father, whichever is their opposite. In these circumstances, it's often due to the way that they were raised. Some of them were sexually abused or physically, and some of them were emotionally abused. One example of a cerebral narcissist that was emotionally abused was this man who had a schizophrenic mother, where the mother would put him to shame during her episodes. He would have friends over where the mother would strip her clothes off in front of his friends and chat them up naked. So what that did to him was have deep resentment and disdain towards her and all women. And at the same time, he still sought women out, which is not uncommon because we're always trying to fix what went wrong with the relationship with parents, particularly the opposite sex parent or caregiver. Now, with all of this said, that doesn't give you the green light to go and fix the narcissist if you yourself want to heal, because more than likely, if you went through something horrific at a young age, like sexual abuse, for example, you would more likely seek out professional help. The narcissist won't. They will take you down with them because, like all other types, they will use all types of manipulative tactics like gaslighting and put downs and cheating and other common traits. They too are arrogant. They too fear rejection and have a fragile sense of self. Now, here's the mix that might have been confusing you. The narcissist who embodies both cerebral and covert traits. The combo results in an individual who, on one hand, displays an intellectual arrogance and a strong need for validation tied to their perceived intellectual brilliance, the cerebral traits, while on the other hand, adopt a more introverted victim mentality, that's the covert traits. These individuals will oscillate between showcasing their intellectual achievements with grandiosity and then adopting a facade of humility, often using a subtle form of manipulation. Their conduct might entail participating in intellectual competitions to assert superiority while at the same time adopting a passive-aggressive demeanor. They will also employ a victim narrative when needed to elicit sympathy from others. For example, if the conversation isn't going their way, they might say something like, "No one understands," or "No one gets me." And this duality, it enables them to navigate interactions with a certain level of unpredictability, employing both overt and covert tactics to secure admiration and control. The cerebral covert narcissist will strategically exploit their intellectual strengths to subtly undermine others. It's again all about control. They get to maintain a balance between grandiosity and victimhood. Now, a narcissist who possesses both cerebral and malignant traits manifests an especially challenging and potentially harmful personality. This fusion, it results in an individual who not only seeks constant validation and admiration for their perceived intelligent brilliance, but also exhibits a malicious and exploitative nature. This combination can lead to a toxic cocktail of arrogance, a thirst for power, and a willingness to manipulate and harm others for personal gain. The cerebral malignant narcissist is likely to use their intellectual abilities not only to assert dominance, but also as a weapon to undermine and destroy those that they perceive as threats. This individual will engage in calculated schemes, employ strategic manipulation, and exploit vulnerabilities to achieve their goals, all while maintaining a veneer of intellectual superiority. You don't want to be dealing with these types in divorce cases. The malignant aspect injects a callous disregard for the well-being of others, allowing for a willingness to engage in destructive behavior such as spreading rumors, engaging in character assassination, or even plotting revenge with malintent. These characters are adept at concealing their darker motives behind a facade of intellect, making them particularly challenging to identify and confront. Dealing with a cerebral malignant narcissist is extremely hard on the victim. And then you can also have an overt cerebral and somatic cerebral and so on. You can even have a mixture with 3 different subtypes. You can have a cerebral covert malignant, for example, which is why it makes it so hard for a lot of people. They're on YouTube searching what type am I with? Is it this type? Is it that type? Everybody is different. They're like, it's almost like a fingerprint. Everybody has a different fingerprint. So in closing, I would like to add that dealing with any narcissist is too much for anyone, period. Like I said a while ago, while you try and find resolve with them, they're going to take you down. So find ways to end this madness. And that starts with healing you, unless, of course, you're in physical danger, which means get out now. So on that note, I am wishing you an awesome week, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.